it will fall back on you. How do you now hold your employer responsible? They look, pay me my money. It's going to be very, very difficult.
I'm really pained by all of this, but I think the message is clear. Coaches insist on getting some contracts, something that you can hold on to. I mean, that's just the message. But Sisi, very quickly, before we go on a break, the Women's League is back?
Yes, it's resuming this weekend, and you have big fixtures lined up. In Group A, you have Mountain White Doves and Delta Queens will be playing in Benin. Bicester Queens and Ibom Angels will also be in action. Confluence Queens and Ocean Babes will be in action. The FC Robo and Adamawa Queens, both of them will also be in action. In Group B, you have Capital City Doves and Edo Queens. They will be playing Abuja. Pelican Stars and TOD Ladies will also be in action. Nassau Amazons and Sunshine Queens. They have Taraba Queens and Rivers Angels. So these are the games for this weekend. So they're finally back, and of course the league. I just hope there wouldn't be much walkovers because that's usually the case. Especially when most of the clubs are owned by government, so they don't really fund it as much. And apart from FC Robo, they don't fund it, so you end up that even when some of them are even playing at home. In the case of Pelican Stars, the last time, they can't even host, the other clubs that are coming in. So the government, we had a River State, of course, they paid, their own club and all that. So if they can that can cut across board, they pay all of them.
If the men are struggling, the clubs, the Blue Premier League clubs, NNL clubs are struggling, you can imagine what the ladies will be suffering. You can really imagine.
Exactly.
Let's wrap up this segment very quickly. The Women World Cup. The Americans are in the final. The same America that beat us by just 1-0 are in the final.
Yeah, took the Germans to.
So is that some consolation for us?
Not at all. The Americans actually prepared for this World Cup. They've been preparing for the past 2 years because they said it's a tournament they haven't won for 16 years. It's painful. The last time they lost to Japan penalties, so it's really painful. So they feel, okay, if we have to reclaim this trophy, then we really have to start preparations, which they did. And of course, it's paying off. They're in the finals. They'll definitely await the winner between Japan and England. Japan and England, whoever they're going to meet, I think they're definitely favorites because Japanese have not really proved, though they've won all the games, but if you check the way the Americans are playing, of course the Japanese are playing, I think the Americans obviously have an edge, and they will definitely want to take revenge. For the English girls, surprise package of the tournament, and never believed they would get to the semi-finals at all. So I wouldn't know what's going to happen in the game tonight between Japan and England. It's going to be a very, very tough one. But the Americans, whoever is coming to me, I think they're ready. For me, they're favorites to lift it. If they don't lift it, well, I think maybe
better luck next time.
Better luck next time, but I think they'll definitely win that. They really want to win it.
For me, I think it will sound good if the Americans win it, so that we can talk about Nigeria losing to eventual champions during the group stage. So I think it sounds good if the Americans go on to win it. But let's close this segment and take you, of course, to Canada. Bring you highlights of the Americans and the Germans in the semi-finals. The reaction to that game. The reaction to that game. We'll take that, and when we return, Tunde Koiki will be joining us on Sports Tonight. We'll be right back.
Training my butt off for the last 12 years. These are the moments that I live for. This is kind of when I roll my sleeves up and say to myself, I have to step up. And I think that, with Jill and the coaching staff kind of giving me the flexibility to express myself out on the field, I just need to deliver, and in any way possible. Tonight was stepping up for the PK, but I'd say, mentally as well. I've just kind of been trained to become a fierce competitor, live for challenges, and never quit, no matter what the scenario is.
All right, so reactions from America's victory over Germany in the semi-finals. They are through to their second straight final, and maybe this time they will have the luck to lift the trophy. All right, enough of the women's game. Tunde Koiki, good looking. Yeah, I was almost forgetting that. Handsome Tunde Koiki has joined us on Sports Tonight. And Tunde, it's good to have you on the show.
Always a pleasure, actually. Always a pleasure. Thank you very much.
All right. A lot of issues to talk about, really. Nigerian football, Super Eagles, Stephen Keshi, and all of that. Osagona Igodaro and Kunle Odunlami. But before we do that, let's just quickly touch up on this guy, the forgotten guy of the Super Eagles. But he has made his mark, and he will forever be cherished in history. Particularly when you want to talk about Nigeria winning a third Africa Cup of Nations in South Africa. It's this guy looking so mean. looking like I want to revive my career. Sunday Mba.
Yes.
So that's the story. He's moved to Turkey.
Yeah, Sunday Mba, former golden boy of Nigerian football, our own. The same way, the same way
He's joined
the Spanish River Iniesta for winning them the World Cup.
Antalyaspor, second division side in Turkey.
Well, he moved from a third division club in France to a second division club in
Turkey.
In Turkey, some people will say, I'm not sure whether that is a step up or a step sideways, but the fellow is moving. So, but it just goes to show you what people like Onye, myself, Dum Nodi, Mekanwani, and all talk about, how the desperation of Nigerian players to want to play abroad. I'm thinking Sunday Mba could still have gotten a better contract somewhere within the borders of Nigeria or even in Africa. But these players, when you start thinking of the fact that you think of clubs in Nigeria Premier League that have been owed salaries for 11 months and
a lot of issues.
You would rather go and serve in hell than
it's an issue that we can discuss for the whole day. Why we are not able to keep our best players, and that's why we're praying that this job by the LMC yields the kind of result that we want in terms of divesting from government, getting private sector involved, and being able to take care of your players and make them assets. Until we're able to do that, these players will always want to run out to the nearest $10,000, $5,000. They will always want to run outside.
Well, there's nothing. The truth is, it's a worldwide phenomenon. And if look at the French League One now. Some of the best players in the French League One are moving everywhere. Geoffrey Kondogbia has joined Inter Milan.
But those ones are moving for bigger pay.
Yes,
and their lives have been enhanced.
Yes, I know. But when you look at Sunday Mba, when he thinks of the fact that he can get home in Turkey and knows that there's lights, the food is not his problem. Well, meanwhile, if you're in Nigeria here, you have to think of putting fuel in your generator after training, or after being severely kicked by players in Nigeria Premier League.
That's beyond sports. Limited to club owing salaries.
Sportsmen
don't talk about the roads, the lights, the...
Sportsmen are like you and I. We all shop in the same markets. We all drive on the same roads.
I know,
and we all live in the same country.
Limited to club owing players.
The
issue of Nigeria is not something we can discuss on this show. Let's just limit our own to what we can talk about, which is that's the reality.
You know, Tony, when people
bring all these issues
say that players have gone to Kazakhstan, they've gone to
Sudan,
Tanzania,
Sudan, Libya.
You see, the bottom line is that you have to put food on the table. You know, when you play for a club 2, 3, 4 seasons, and the only thing you get is thank you. Thank you cannot pay your house rent, cannot pay your children's school fees. You cannot take care of your bills. So the bottom line here is survival. So if you are saying that Sunday Mba, after being the hero for us at the 2013 Nations Cup in South Africa, now found himself in second division. Later, they got relegated, to the third tier in France. Then you have to have everything because the young man wants to, better his life.
Anyway,
he has played for Mighty Jets. He played for Mighty Jets at the period when the supporters of the club will contribute money.
The Dolphins, the Rangers,
to help them prosecute away games. Then Dolphins and Rangers,
and along the line was picking up unpaid salaries and allowances along the way.
Immediately there was a contract. The guy just looked simple, and we can't blame him.
I met a Nigerian player who plays in Iraq. I'll probably get him to this program.
One of these
playing to the sounds of bombs and gunshots.
But when the money is coming in.
But he'd rather play there than play in Nigeria. That's
because the money is coming in. Anyway, Dokudi, Sheyi Ogunsoya, and Eric Ejiofor were the ones that made these codes very, very